right, guys. Good to see you back. All the men and women out there. Welcome back to True Gnostic Artist. We are going to be restarting on the presentation that Toby had sent me. We're going to do part 1B today. There's 51 total slides in the presentation, so I just wanted to kind of break it up. The first one, part 1A, is about half an hour. I'm probably going to do smaller portions because I don't want to overload everyone on the content. Make smaller videos, always a little bit better. People are busy trying to take care of personal things. Like today, I was outside fixing the gutters. We got some rain coming in, and I just wanted to make sure that they were clear. So without further ado, let's. You've stepped into the matrix, so remember, you can always step out. So let's go on to the presentation. I'm going to make my screen small. And there you go. So we left off on this screen, and we're going to go ahead and continue on and go to the next. Enlarge this. Go to the presentation. And there you have it. All right. So over here, we're going to look at some of the references to the number 8. In the movie They Lived, we see that the signs are showing obey, work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours. The 8, of course, is the infinity number, just right side up. Infinity, the figure 8, the Ouroboros, the hourglass. It includes every possible digit or line on a digital clock. That's how you make all the numbers. If you include all the possibilities, you always get the 8. So look at the word 8. I mean, 8 is 8 as in EIGHT. It's 8 as in I ate my lunch. We already talked about 8, how it is a representative or is representative of the word to consume, because the God is consuming us. We can see that the atomic structure of the proton, neutron, and electrons have in it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how he has this one in here, but I'm gonna have to ask Toby the atomic structure so he can elaborate on this particular. I know that there's usually 3 6s in the protons, neutrons, and electrons. So that's 18. Maybe that's how he was going to reference it, 18. But again, comedy, comer, eat, 8, infinite. It's also the meta symbol, infinity. And of course, the hourglass figure that we know that we reference as the woman's shapely figure, hourglass. So let's look at what is on this slide right here. We have the anime series Bleach. We have Dragon Ball Z, and we have the movie Soul. So Soul's depicted here, Dragon Ball Z right here, and Bleach, the Bleach main character. So in Bleach, trying to remember the character's name. I've been watching a little bit of this with my kids, and then Toby brought it to my attention that it's instrumental in his presentation, and he put it in here. So let's see. The soul of the person is connected to a soul chain. And what do chains look like? Of course, the links are like eights. The chain of fate, which binds the eternal soul to their body. So the soul and the body are tied together by the chain. In Dragon Ball Z, if one collects all 7 of the Dragon Balls, they can summon, what do? They summon a dragon. And of course, the dragon is what we kind of understand as the Ouroboros, that serpent that eats itself. So this Shernan dragon, what does it do? It's like a genie. It's once it's summoned, it can grant you a wish. Let's see. The dragon is also in the movie The Never-Ending Story, and it also grants wishes. The dragon represents a sine wave. We know that the sine wave is abbreviated SIN, and we know that sin is what we are supposedly created out of. You know, the crescent, the moon. It's related to the matrix of time, with the wishes granted only happening within the dream world sphere of time. So let's say you ask for a wish. That wish isn't going to happen in your reality. It's only going to happen in the dream world, the matrix time. Let's see, what else? In the 2020 movie Soul, where the musician dies and he's striving to before his death to become working in the club scene rather than the boring world of teaching that he hates to do. He is when he does die, he's taken up into another realm where he is face to face with what we remember are the Jerrys. And these Jerrys, remember what the Germans were called in World War II, excuse me. They were called the Jerrys, and those are the Jeremiahs. We've talked about that in the past videos back at the Devil's Playground 2 channel. If the spark is found, that is what's missing, and they want to get that spark back. And where is that spark held? It's in the cubed, and that is ready to re-enter the Earth's matrix. Again, it's that recycling all over again. Okay, so he wants to focus a little bit on Interstellar. And he's got a quote here. All of this is one little girl's bedroom. Every moment. It's infinitely complex. Love is the key that keeps this machine going. Love is the key. It also says here the tesseract is next to Saturn and has within it the same honeycomb hexagonal pattern that he has seen that has been shown. The chapter Cooper states, the character Cooper states that love can alter the tesseract. Interesting. I have to rewatch Interstellar. Okay, so let's look at IXXI. Well, we know that Roman numeral IX is a 9, and Roman numerals XI are 11. So, of course, this is a coding of 9/11. So, look at the drawing of a cube here. We'll break it down into X, X, I, X, X, I, and there's your 9/11. Okay, over here we have the aerial view of where the Trade Center, the two twin towers are. And then this is a photographic view. You see the IXXI Art Center building near the 9/11 memorial site. And what is it? Nothing more than a golden cube. Interesting. And over here we have IXXI ancient finger rings of the Jesuits. And over here we are going to look at a scene from Ariana Grande's song Break Free. The song's about freeing prisoners trapped in the cube-shaped cages. At the end of the song, the Tree of Life is used as Zod to teleport himself, Ariana, and the prisoners into another dimension within the Matrix, truly not freeing them. So, we talk about the ascension and all that stuff. Within the understanding of these religions, you're not really going to get anywhere. You're not going to get out. You're just going to a new prison. All right, we all recognize this. Desire opens the box. In Greek mythology, Pandora is the character that opens the box. Pandora opens the box because she's curious, and from this box she releases emotional and physical pains upon mankind. Of course, not just physical pain, but emotional. Probably emotional is more damaging than the physical. So Pandora's curiosity got the best of her, and as she opens that box, ending, that's what eventually ends the earthly paradise, supposedly, from the story. From the small box flew out troubles and woes, sorrows, disease, vice, violence, greed, madness, old age, of course, death, to plague humankind forever. I would change that humankind to man and woman. Pandora is a play on words for Pan and Dora. We know that Pan is the Greek word for the god of wood, which represents an untamed lower self. Pan also being in meaning like all encompassing, like pansexual or pandemic. And then the word Dora, it comes from the Greek word thoro, and it's the meaning of like Dorothy, and it means a gift. The only Dora that comes to Toby's mind is Dora the Explorer, who was a computer program that went on adventures. Of course, originally it was a game, then it made into a cartoon, and then, of course, a movie. Let's look at Hellraiser, the guy with all those nails poking out of his face. In the Hellraiser film series, curiosity and a seeking for greater forms of pleasure leads to the opening of the lament configuration. Opening the box leads one to be sent into a hellish dimension of pain and pleasure. The realm is governed by Cenobites, who claim that they are there to give you the experience you have ever imagined before, maybe never imagined before. Cenobites. The god of this world is called Leviathan, a spinning object that sends out black smoke that for whomever it touches will experience horrifying nightmares. No thanks. Leviathan is worshipped in the hell world and is called the god of flesh, hunger, and desire. Leviathan resides at the center of the labyrinth, just like Jareth from the Labyrinth movie, and similarly the Wizard of Oz, who was in the Emerald City, which is the green heart chakra that has been placed under the 666 hex. And of course, you see the box is like a cube for Pandora. And then for Hellraiser, he holds the cube in his hand. It is not hands that call us. It is desire. All right, let's go move on to the next. You can pause the video and read from this comic strip all that he's saying here. In the battle for hell, Leviathan is forced to consume more and more souls to feed its machinery of war, sowing the seeds of chaos and rebellion. Does that remind you of anything? Never-ending path we're all stuck on. Over here we see a pyramid and then an inverted pyramid back to back. See the same thing over here. In the Hellraiser movie Inferno, Pinhead says that if one forsakes their spirit, they will be trapped in a reincarnation loop, with the loop being shown at the end of the movie. All right. I've never seen any of those Hellraiser movies, so I'll take your word for that. All right, here's another one. In the Hellraiser movie Hellworld, a group of teenagers play a computer game that, if they can complete, will get tickets to go to a Hellworld mansion party. The thing is, the moment that they arrive to the mansion, they see things that truly never happened to them. The entire time they were in tombs with a phone next to their heads, giving them suggestions to create the horrific nightmares that they thought they actually happened the entire time. Are we in that same predicament, with a machine feeding us frequencies that we convert into dream worlds where we create their dreams for them? That's a pretty good theory. We've seen that in other movies too, where we're in a pod, almost kind of like Avatar. We're in a pod chamber, and we can then imagine that we are on the avatar's world while we take on that body and then interact down there. I think that's very similar. All right, let's take a look at numbers that equal 666 in gematria. I've got Genesis, Energon. If I recall, Energon is like a liquid that the Transformers need to live. Again, another movie with some truth drops in it. Reality TV, ejaculation, power supply, internet, shapeshift, computer, soul farm, zodiac wheel, gaming, time loop, player one, digital realm, illusion, internet, and Jumanji, another game movie. So 6 times 6 times 6 we know is 216, 6 cubed, right? 216 is the same as 21, 21 times 6, which is 126. And we have already mentioned that the 126 is also the same as the 12, 6, like the hands of the clock. the straight path. Excuse me. So he goes on to read or to demonstrate Revelation 21:6 of the new version, NIV version, Genesis 1:26, and then Romans 2:16. Feel free to pause the recording and read those for yourselves. Again, I don't want to make this presentation too long, so we're just going to skip over those. But they're very interesting to see the connection of what the verses are saying and how they implement either 2:16, 1:26 from the different various books. Not only in the biblical form, but we'll also see that in the Quran. They have a lot of similarities as well. Excuse me. Okay, again, the game Jumanji, a game for those who seek to find a way to leave their world behind. You roll the dice to move your token. Doubles get another turn. The first player to reach the end wins. Adventurers beware, do not begin unless you intend to finish. The exciting consequences of the game will vanish only when a player has reached Jumanji and called out its name. That is a very interesting instructions to the game. Again, we have the game board, the hourglass, of course, as you got time, some of the pieces. Never actually played the game, but I've watched the movie. In the Jumanji, the next level movie, the players, after selecting their characters, are sucked into a world where they are stuck in a reincarnation loops. God is love, the word and the light beamed at us at death. Proverbs 2:16, New NIV version, we'll read it this time. Wisdom will save you also from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words. Philippians 2:16, New International Version again. As you hold firmly to the word of life, and then I will be able to boast on the day of Christ that I did not run or labor in vain. Let's look at the seductive words. The seductive words are the frequencies of love beamed at us at death. You can almost recall that you see that light at death, and in order to attract you, sometimes that parasitic entity will bring in something beautiful like an angel, or maybe the recollection of a loved one that's passed on. Maybe it be your dad or your mom or any loved one. And they'll tell you things to convince you to come into that light. In the Philippians verse, where it mentions boasting to Christ, they're talking about how they're celebrating that they tricked you into entering the light. This parasite is going to do whatever it can to, in essence, seduce you, not sexually, but to entice you, to make you think that going into that false light, you will somehow reap the benefits of being with your loved ones again. And again, and to some degree, if they're trapped here and they're sucked back in, you're going to be sucked back in too. So let's look at, and in their words, which is a deceptive frequency. They use love type words. Love is a drug, but it's also how they keep us sedated. So it's a drug that you can get addicted to, and again, in a corporeal existence, you want love. It's almost as if we know that a baby, once born, needs the affectionate love and care of its mother, or at least some type of physical touch, in order to survive. So we also know that the word love is, in Chinese, we've talked in the past, is I, right? AI. Love is God and AI all wrapped in one. So the truth is that we are all individuals, not some hive mind collective, who have no need for each other. If we are non corporeal, we don't need one another. Need and love are the greatest forms of deception, not in a bodily form, but in the spiritual form. Very interesting. Let's see, more on 2:16. Again, I would pause here. I'd read all of the Bible references. You can even look at what Muhammad says about peace. We can look at the Quran. Let's see, the Quran over here, 6:126. That is your Lord's path, perfectly straight. We have already made signs clear, the signs clear to those who are mindful. So I guess the Quran is telling us about the straight path, and he's maybe talking about the 126 here. 126. This is the straight path that Allah wants us to go to. The narrow gate that Kyron last mentions. Again, Kyron last mentions it in a lot of his videos. I don't know if he is wrong or if he's saying to pick that path. But in my opinion, this is where I may differ from Toby a little bit. I'm not necessarily saying that to pick that path. It's just I don't want to pick the left or the right. I'd rather go down the middle. Maybe that could be considered a choice too, but it's not a dualistic choice. It's more of a different choice. And I know that the controllers of this world would rather you go either left or right, because really left and right is the same thing. So yeah, go ahead and read all of those once you've paused. And we'll move on to the born again. You know, this is what traditional Christian faith tells you, that there's no such thing as reincarnation. They're going to tell you that with you accepting a God into your heart, which for me, it took me years to realize this, but in order for Christ to enter your heart, you have to invite him in. There's only one other creature that I know that can't enter unless invited, and that's Dracula. Now, I'm not saying I believe in the whole vampire story, but the funny thing is, are they really trying to hide the fact that this false God that they're pushing on you in the born again Christian faith, could he be just another vampiric entity? I think that could possibly be the case. Let's continue looking at verses with the 162 this time. And at this point, I think I am going to say that, yeah, I'm going to cut this short a little bit because I have some things that I got to get to. But it was good to get through part 1B today. We're going to end it on the born again. We're looking at the cube unwrapped in the cross form. And this is, again, I feel, another form of deception.